What a warm time we were in there. But how calling is here the air abouts. We know where she lives, but you mustna tell Anna one, for the lamp of jig-a-lantern. It's a candle little house, of a month and one windies, down a down, high down a down, and numbered quaintly mine, and such reasonable weather too. The vagrant winds a waltz around the Piltdowns, and every blasted nollyrock, if you could spot 50, I spy 4 more. There's that gnarly bird you're gathering, run a little, do a little, pray a little, paw a little, wipe a little, kicks a little, shovel a little, eat a little, whine a little, ken a little, help a little, pelf a little, gnarly bird. A very terrible land of bleak barred fields. Under his 7 rough shields lies one lump raw. His glaive beside him, scud on toast, our pigeons pair are flown for north cliffs. The 3 of crows have flapped it suddenly, cracking of debacle to the cavaters of that sky, whence tribus answer, wail 'tis well. She never comes out when thons on shower, or when thons flash with his nixie girls, or when thons blowing tomb cracks down the gales of Thon. No, Nubo, no, neb lass on you live, her would be too muchy a freet, of bury Melilink, of bind wi' rolling eyes, and all the deed in the woe. Fee, fo, fum, she just does hopes, till byes will be byes. Here, and it goes on to appear now, she comes a peaceful fugle, a parody's bird, a Perry Potmother, a Pringle pick, in the island of Skippy, with peewee and powwows in beggy-baggy, on a bicky-backy, and a flick-flask, fleck-fling, its pixie lighting, pacts, humour bows, picking here, pecking there, pussy, pussy, plunder pussy. But it's the Armitides to-nigh, Milito Pucos, and to morn we wish for muddy kissmans to the minutia workers, and there's to be the gorgeous truce, for happiness, childer everywhere. Come Nebo me and Suso sing the day we celebrate. She's bowed the coach's headlight the better to pry, who goes cute goes secure, and shoes around, and all spoiled goods go into her knapsack, cartridges and rattled buttons, nabby spatties and flasks of all nations, clavicures and scapulars, maps, keys and woodpiles of halfpennies and moon-lead brooches, with bloodstained wicks in bows and night garters and masses of shoe sets, and nickelly knacks, a fodder, all Michael, and a ugly parson of Kates, and Howard Chamuchias and midges and maggots, ills and ells, with lofts and tuffs and plure bells, and the last sigh that come for the heart, Bucklead, and the fairest sin the sun saw, that's Yerk, with kiss, kiss, Chris, cross, Chris, kiss, cross, unto live's end, slain. How beautiful and how true to wife of her, when strangely forbidden to steal our historic presents from the past, post-propheticals, so as to will make us all lordly heirs and landmaiders of a pretty nicely kettle of fruit. She is living in our midst of debt and laughing all through all applause for us. Her birth is uncontrollable, with a nape one for her mask, and I suppose kicking arias, so say so solly, if yous ask me and I sack you. Ho, ho, cricks may rise and trousers fall, there being 2 sights for every picture, For in the byways of higher providence, that's what makes life worth leaving, and the world's itself a sitters to sit in. Let young women run away with the story, and let young men talk smooth behind the butler's back. She knows a nice duty. While Luntum sleeps, did you save any tin, says he? Did I what with a grin, says she? And we all like a married Anne because she is mercenary, though the length of the land lies under liquidation. Flute, and there's ne'er a hairbrow, nor an eyebush on his glauber's face of hair shrift. What a welter is she alone of Esther, and hire some peat and starch the shores, her cockles to heat, and she'll do all a turf woman can to piff the business on. Paff, to puff the blaziners on, puff, puff, and even if Humpty shall fall, Frumpty times is awkward again, in the beard's boo saloon, of all our grand remonstrances there, be eggs for the breakers come to Bonham, sunny side up with care. So true is it that there is a turnover, the day is wet too, and when you think you catch sight of a hind, make sure, but you're cocked by a hin. Then as she is on her behaviourite job of quain and spandy, fruiting for firstlings and taking her tithe, we may take our review of the 2 mounds to see nothing of the himples here, as at elsewhere by 6s and 7s, like so many heagles and collines sitting a root, skent breeched, and some potreek in their swisher-wash satins, and the taffetaff tights, playing Wharton's folly at a tree-putty on the planker in the park. Stand up, Mickos, make strake for Minas. By order Nicholas Proud, we may see and hear nothing if we choose of the short-legged Bergens of Cork Hill, or the Burger Moors of Arbor Hill, or the Burger Campbells of Summerhill, or the Bergensellies of Misery Hill, or the country bust Burgons of Constitutional Hill, though every crowd has its several tones, and every trade has its clever mechanics, and each harmonical has a point of its own. Olaf's on the rise, and Ivor's on the lift, and Citric's placed between them. But all they are, all they're scraping along to sneeze out a likelihood that will solve and salve life's robulus rebus, hopping around his middle like kippers on a griddle. Oh, as he lays dormant from the Macroborg of Haldhard to the Microberg of Pidapur, behold this hound, this sound of Irish sense, really. Here English might be seen, royally, 1 sovereign pund to petty pence regally. The silence speaks the scene. Fake. So this is Dublong. Hush. Caution. Echoland. How charmingly exquisite. It reminds you of the outwashed engravure that we used to be blurring on the blotch wall of this inkempt house. Used they, I am sure the tiring shabble-shoveler with their musical chocolate box, Mary Mitchell is listening. I say the remains of the outworn grave moor, where used to be buried the Tolmans of the incubus. Used we? He is only pretendant to be stugging at the jubilar harp from a second existent listener. Fiery Farley, it is well known. Look for himself and see the old but new. Dublin, WKOO, here, by the mausoleum wall. Fim, 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 with the grand front for all. Fum, 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 'tis up to phone, which up to fanes. List. Wheatstone's magic lyre. There will be tuggling for either. They'll be lightning for aloft, they'll be pre-tumbling for over. The harp discord shall be theirs for olives. For things, therefore, saith our hereditary Mamod Lugus in his grand old Historiorum, wrote near Boreorum, bluest book in Bell's Annals, F.T. in Divanoski, ne'er saw fit, fell till heather smoke and cloudweed airs, I'll salpal. And here now they are, the fear of totodes, unum, a bulb and boss surmounted upon an alderman, aye, do nism, a shoe on a pure old woman, no, triom, tamus, an orban maybe, O'Brien, beatty, to be deserted, a dear quadlibus. Marchesfin, a pender waiter, nor a pole post, and so and all succoth. So how idlers whine, turning pages on pages, as innocents with anaclete play Popeye antipop, the leaves of the living, in the bulk of the deeds, annals of themselves, timing the cycles of events grand and national, bring falsifies to pass the how. 1132 AD. Men like to ants or emmets wandern upon a goot, who-eyed waltz-fix, which lay in a runnel, blubby wares, opat, oblanium. 566 AD. On Balefire's night of this year, after deluge a crone that had a wicked kish, for to hail dead tunes from the bog, looked under the blay of her kish. As she ran for to sow this feege, a curiosity, and be me Saul, but she found herself sack full of swarty good quickenshoon, and small elegant brogues, so witch and sweat, blurry works at Huddlesford. Silent. (566 AD). At this time it fell out that a brazen-locked damsel grieved sobrala solas, because that puppet her minion was ravished of her by the ogre, poor pious bloody wars in Balliocliabolity. 1132 AD. 2 sons at an hour were born until a goodman and his hag. These sons called themselves Caddy and Primus. Primus was a santry-man, and drilled all decent people. Caddy went to wine-house and wrote, O peace, a farce. Blotty words for Dublin. Somewhere apparently in the Grenadigo gap, between Antediluvius and Anno Dominant, the copyist must have fled with his scroll. The billy flood rose, or an elk charged him, or the sultrup worldwide, from the excellus most empyrean, bolted thumb. Earth spake, or the Darnaman gallows banged and pan, the bloody duan. A scribicide then there was led off under old code, with some fine covered by 6 marks or 9 pins in metalment for the sake of his labour's dross. It will be only now and again, in our rear of our era, as an upshoot of military and civil engagements, that the Gynecure was led off to the scaffold for taking that same fine sum covertly by meddlement with the drawers of his neighbour's safe. Now after that far-farched and peregrine indignant, or clear lift we our ears, eyes of the darkness from the tome of Liber Lividus and Toe. How passably ironical, all dimmering dull dunes and glimmering glades. So stretches the forest, how free the land's plain. Laid 'neath stone pine the pastor lies with his crook. Young pricket by pricket's sister nibbleth on returned viridities. Amid her rocking grasses the herb trinity shams lowliness. Sky up is of every grey, thus too for donkey's years. Since the bouts of Heber and Herriman, the cornflowers have been staying at Ballymun. The dusk rose has chosed out Goatstown hedges. Two lips have pressed together them by sweet rush. Town land of twinned lights, the white horn and the red thorn have fairy gied the May valleys of Knockmaroon, and though for rings round them during a chiliad of perilagangs, the Fomorians have brittled the turf of the Danes, and the Oxman has been pestered by the firebugs in the joints, have thrown up jerry building to the Kevinses, and little on the green is Charles' father to the city. Year, and laughters. These pack-sealing buttonholes have quadrilled across the centuries, and whiff now waft to us, fresh and made of all smiles, as on the eve of Kill-all-who. The Babelers with their thangas vain have been, confusium hold them. They were went, thinking thugs were and huinin, song toms were, and comely norgals were, and polyfool fiancies. Men have thought, clerks have susurhumed, the blondest sort of the brune, else kiss thou may, mean Kerry Priggy, and the Dunsle dams have counted with the hellish fellows. Who ails tongue Coddo, a space of dumbill silly, and they fell upon one another, and themselves they have fallen, and still now a nights and by nights of yore, do all bold flowers of the field, to these shy fawn lovers say only, call me here, I will to thee, and but a little later pluck me, whilst I blush. Well may thy wilt marry and profusely blush, betroth, for that saying is as old as the Howits. Leave a whale a while in a wheelbarrow. Isn't it the truth, I'm talling ye, to have fins and flippers that shimmer and shake? Tim Timmican Timter, tempting tam, flippity flippity, flea pow, hop. In the name of Arnhem, this call on the copy, in pelted thongs, a path alone, who the Joe Bigger be he? Forshapen, his pig-made hogshead, shrunk his clod's foot, he had locktoes, this short sins, obby old, that's pectoral, his mamma muscles, most mysterious. It is slaking nuncheon out of something's brain pan, meseemeth the dragon man, he is almost on the coop thief by here. Is come stipple Saxoon, be it junipery or feaberay, Marax or alebrill on the ramping riots of Puerios and Florios. What a cruel sort of man. It is evident the Minchin daddy lets me overstep his fire defences in these kraals of slit-sucked marg bones. Carve. He can preposterous the pillory way to Hercules' pillar. Come on, fool, porterful, hosed women, blown monks sewer, Excuse us, jolly guy, you tolliday dunks, you talkative Scowegian, you spiggity Anglese, Euphonio Saxo, clear also, 'tis a jute. Let us swap hats and excheck a few strong verbs. Wick ouch either yap yazid bast the bluty creeks. Jute. Utah. But. Books pleasure ad. Jute. Are you Jeff? But. Some hards. Jute. But you are not Jeff Boot. But. No how, only an utterer. Jute. Woe. Woe, 'tis the butter with you. But. I became a stummer. Jute. What a how audible thing to be cause. How boot? But I put the bottle third. Jute, whose bottle? Wherein? But the ends of Dungtarf were used out to be there. Jute, you that side, your voice, you're almost inedible to me. Become a bit skin more wiseable, as if I were you. But has that hesitancy? Herp. Boo-hoo-woo. Boo-hoo, usurp. I trample some wrath in minds, when I rim. Jute. One eye gone black, bisons is bisons, let me for all your hesitancy. Cross your qualm with trinkilt. Here have silvern coin, a piece of oak. Guineas is good for you. But, Louis, how wouldn't I not know it, the intelligible great cloak of Cedric Silky Shag? Seed merely faulty, rises for one Dublin bar. Old Grizzly Growlsley. He was poached on in that egg tentacle spot. Here's where the livery's mother mark. There where the Mrs. Mooney. Minikin Passé. Jute. Simply because, as Taciturn pretells, our long story shortener, he dumped the whole bowl of rubbiches onto soil here. But just how a puddingstone in at the Bruxelles by a river pool? Jute. Loud Almarshy, with what for a norse like? Much. Some millar with a bull on a clump turf. Rook's room Rex room. I could snore to him of the spoomy horn, with his Wolseley side in, by the neck I am settin' on. Did Brian Dovlin you doom? Jute. Boiled oil and raw honey on me when I can, Barali for stander weird from Stirk to Finnick, in such a patwat as your rutted water. Unheard of and unseen. Good aftermeal, see you doomed. But quite a grim, Basarvasek, walk it unblick round with this Albertile, and you skull see how old you plain of my altars. 1 hours where worn to wail, wimble to peewee, o'er the saltings where will be sighty by laws of Ismon, where by adroit of sinewy ice flow was from into the bignig, to whose finish their punct. Let Arium murmur, me emerge two races, sweet and black, mothering rue, hither crutching eastyards, they are insurgents. Hence cool at ebb, they requiesce. Countlessness of life stories have never fallen on this plage. Flicker snowflakes, letters from aloft, like a vast visit of the worlds, now all attuned to the mound. Isthmus to isthmus, Erde to Erd. Pride, O pride, thy prize. Jute, stench, but Fiatfoot, here and under, lieth I. Large by the small, on every night life, also the Strudge, Babylon, the great grand hotel with Tittlehouse, Alp on Earwick, drunken on Ild, likewise equal to unequal in the sound symmetry which is Liebe's love. Jute, Smord, Mut, Meldon leads by the fierce wave behouted, Despond sung, and Thanestros mound have swallowed them all. This earth of ours, of years, is naught save brick dust, and being humus to the same rotteds. He who runes may read it on all fours. O castle, Newcastle, Trocastle crumbling, sell me sooth for humbling lady, fair. But speak it all so stiffly bold, be in your whist. Whist, but the giant forficules with Amni the Fay. Jute, how? But here is Vikes King's grab. Jute, Howard, but are you a Stone Age Jutu? Jute, I am thorn struck. Thingmud, stoop.